Hi guys. I know, long time no see. Uh, as you can see, I'm sitting in a place that's not a hotel room. We've been here about a month. I hadn't quite had a chance to update you guys. There was a lot that happened. Um, we had even stayed in a hotel room about 2 weeks before we moved in here, and I should have had a chance to update, but I was just so wiped. It wasn't even possible. Uh, right about 6 to 7 weeks ago, I got two wisdom teeth pulled, courtesy of insurance. It was awesome. But yeah, that really, really bad one down here, and this one was starting to go bad. Those have been pulled. Um, this upcoming August, I have teeth cleaning, and then they're probably going to try to schedule an oral exam for me for this one because it's way down there. And they're like, oh yeah, they'll just remove those two while they're at it. But we'll see what happens. Um, Loads have happened right around that time. Um, my poor husband, somebody stole his wedding ring, and the way it happened was just so bizarre. I mean, this man never takes off his ring if he can help it. Me, I lost so much weight. I've put all my rings on here because they would just keep sliding right off my fingers. But he didn't really have anything like that. And this guy was, asking about rings, and my husband's like, well, it's a simple band, man. I've got the guy just whoosh, okay, just snatched it and booked. Now, this is when we were still living in our car. And you could tell the guy kind of figured this out, that he's dealing with somebody who has way less than he does in his Escalade, his nice clothes, with a lady sitting next to him and what looks like his kid in the back seat watching him steal from a homeless guy. That was nice. So that was super upsetting. That whole entire day was just shit for my husband. And about a week after that, I got my wisdom teeth pulled, and I mean, I actually managed to get a free hotel room for that night because we had accumulated so many points over the last 6, 7 months. I was able to do that. And yeah, that was nutty time. Um, and I didn't get a chance to get you all caught up on that because I was too busy just frigging zonked for about 8 to 16 hours there. Just slept off and on and getting used to like having absolutely nothing here. It was so weird. Um, I'm still kind of trying to get used to it. Those wisdom teeth, I've had all my wisdom teeth except for this one down here. It would break through the surface and then go under, break through the surface. It's been doing that for well over 20 years. I've had my wisdom teeth since I was about 19, 20 years old. So it takes some getting used to. There is loads to tell you. Okay, so as you guys know, I had a job. Right about the time I got my job, my poor husband lost his because of COVID. He was working at Denny's to cook. And everything here in March just shut down. I mean, that was it. Libraries, schools, everything just shut down. And we were job searching for him. And it never panned out while we were in Tacoma. Everything either interfered with my job. I mean, he had so many places that they just weren't willing to pay anything, and they weren't really sure, where to place him. It was completely ridiculous. And then lo and behold, about month and 3 weeks, almost 2 months ago, a gentleman at my workplace whom I adored. I just knew so many cool people at this workplace. They were just so freaking awesome. The lady who trained me was awesome. The guy whose house I am renting, he is massively awesome. The lady who did purchasing, she was massively awesome. There are just so many cool people all over that place. And he was like, well, I know about your situation, and I have this house. I had an emergency come up, and we were supposed to be doing renovations and everything, but an emergency came up, and his mother's husband had passed away, and everything went towards that. And then they moved in with her because she's just not used to being by herself. So literally, the whole entire family packed up, moved there, and so this place had been sitting empty for a couple of months. And he offered it, and at that time, I know, pride, seriously. I was like, no, I don't want to ruin our friendship, and that's just all kinds of awkward. I'll talk with my husband, though. Well, I got tired of every couple of weeks getting a couple of days in a hotel room. I'm still kind of thin, but I was so thin at that time. Literally every time I sat down, my tailbone let me know about it. There is absolutely nothing great about being 120 pounds soaking wet and no longer in your 20s. When you're in your 20s, you can handle it. No big, the way everything's arranged, no big. But I've had 2 kids since then, so no, it's not exactly working out. And, my eldest is he's as tall as I am now, okay? So it's getting a bit more difficult for him, and we'd spent 7 months like that. And my husband's legs were just going freaking crazy. We'd get a hotel room, his legs would stop swelling, everything would be fine. And then all of a sudden, it's just an on-off thing. And it was getting to the point where his legs just constantly felt tight. And it's it's honestly from sitting upright and sleeping literally like this. There's only so far a seat can go back. And there's only so much leg room you can give yourself. So, yeah. Eventually, about a couple weeks after that, I went ahead and I just took him up on the offer. I was like, I'm done, dude. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm completely done. So we asked if we could move in, and he said, yeah. And it's kind of steep. But I had some money saved back, of course, when we got our income tax, and then we got the $1,200, all of that just paid off everything. My reserve line, my credit card, bang, that was done. And then I just sucked any money I had extra away into savings. So we used that for our first payment, and we're using what's left in savings again for our next one. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, it's completely working out. Some of you guys know this because I've talked with you. Some of you do not. But right about the time that I moved in here, things went kind of head tilty at work. Now, the work that I was doing is kind of hard. The learning curve is hardcore. And I was told I'm ahead of the curve. I'm doing great. There's a lot you have to remember, and there's a lot you have to stay on top of. And I'm doing this without the extra part-time person that they had helping them out. The guy who was originally the manager right above me's place, this guy would come at like 4 o'clock in the morning and leave at like 7 o'clock at night. And he was a micromanager from hell, but he was also one of those who roll up his sleeves, jump in, and help out. He's no longer there. The lady who was above me was hired in to take his place. So, yeah, things just felt off. This place is usually, it's hectic, it's fast-paced, but it's got a pretty good feel to it most of the time. And then I found out this lady whose office, I rarely go past, honestly. I go past it long enough to go get stuff to receive in, and then that's it. Um, she got a position that seems to have almost been made up. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure exactly what it was she did before, except she was some type of quality overseer, but I never saw her do any quality. The guy whose house I got this from, he's quality. I always thought of him as a quality manager because, well, I guess he's quality supervisor, but he's always on the floor. He's always checking things. He's always calibrating. It's amazing. Well, she wound up over all of us. No idea. This is where shit gets complex, people. Okay. So the lady who's my direct supervisor, my manager, she is roommates with this chick. She was brought here by the HR person because she knew the HR person in St. Louis. She needed a fresh start. The HR person had moved here with her kiddo, getting a fresh start. So she invited her down to come and take this job. She moved in with this chick. So you had that little weird triangle thing going on, a friendship there, which I really wasn't that aware of until I had been there a couple of months. And I was like, it hadn't affected me, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. But I'm like, whenever HR is friends with anybody in the other offices and hangs out with them on a constant, that usually does not work out well. Well, yeah, it didn't work out well for me. Let's just put it like that. So I move in here, and then somehow this chick is just put over everyone. I mean, everyone. Every department has a supervisor head. She's over everybody. She doesn't seem to understand what anybody's job entails either, which made it all that more interesting. So the second she was put in place, this lady just pings me wrong. I don't know how else to say it. She just, I mean, from the jump, I avoided her because she just pinged me wrong. Just everything about her just screamed, this is not somebody you want to know. On the surface, she looks like somebody you may want to know, and that's what everybody else is basing their I want to know this chick off of. But yeah, this would not be good for me to get tangled up with this chick. Well, now I have no choice but to be tangled up with this chick because she's above me. Well, actually, she's above the manager who's above me. So I told the lady who had trained me, she had been there for a year and a half. She is absolute dream. I still love her to pieces. I told her, I said, you watch. Here in a month's time, I'm not going to be here. And she was like, what? No, where do you get that impression? And I was like, well, this chick. I'm not that keen on her. I avoid her, but the feeling is more than mutual. And she now has the ability to do something about it. So my husband, I came home and told him that. And I'm like, this is like the worst timing in the world. I'm like, but and we're kind of joking about it. I mean, that's what's so funny. Whenever we intuit something in this household, it becomes kind of something like a joke. So I guess we can best prepare ourselves for it. And it was just one of those things of, I was like, this chick is going to get in place. She's not going to understand what's going on, and she's going to start headhunting. And I am the newest person, and she's going to want to do what every new manager who's never had this type of power before, and you can tell she hasn't, never had this type of power before, wants to do. They want to put their boot on it and make sure that everybody knows who's in charge here. And if they don't like you, and you're the newest, this is the easiest way to do it. To top it all off, this chick is young. Okay, I'm talking like almost a full 2 decades younger than me. This does not bode well. So I came home and I told my husband, and he was like, oh, well, I mean, you wouldn't have to do the hour drive anymore. I mean, there is a toll that costs like $5 every time you go towards Tacoma from where we're at. And it's an hour drive, so it's not exactly friendly to the car. And so right about the time that she took over, I started like throwing out random applications. I'm still doing that for him, and I had to change where it's located. So I was throwing out applications for him just in case he was like coming to work in the same area I was. So then I just completely redefined the perimeters. I put everything around the area we're now living in. Because I'm like, just watch, just wait. This is what's going to happen. The lady who trained me was like, oh no, no, no way. I'm like, oh honey, I've done this for way too long. Something is going to go sideways. I guarantee it. It's going to go sideways. So she spends about 2 weeks, like, randomly eyeballing me. She's like walking through and like checking with everybody. Most of the departments seem annoyed with her, and they're like, you know, okay, you can go away now. I've been running this bad boy for about 7 years. Bye. Which, of course, I don't have that ability. Now, what's so funny is I completely rearranged everything. I threw out all the trash. I made sure that all the supplies were caught up. I made sure that everything was always ready for shipping. I made sure that everything was always ready for receiving. Every time I walked in, everything's laid out so I can just start my work and go. Which is something that wasn't really able to happen before. I don't know why, but it really wasn't able to happen before. But it was also the slow season. I mean, I'm being trained during the slow season, so that's kind of helpful. And yeah, she just started hanging out more and more. And then right about half a week after she takes over, it's like my manager is constantly pissed at me. Constantly pissed. Constantly pissed. And then about a week after that, I get dragged into the office. And I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Sure enough, they want to talk to me about my performance, and I seem to be having issues with this, that, and the other. And of course, what's hilarious is the fact that they, you know, she's like, you've been here for 4 months, you should have this by now. No. According to everybody else that's not you, no. I'm ahead of the curve. No. The lady who's above me has 2 more months on than I do. She still doesn't know everything that's happening, so no. But I didn't say anything. I expected them, okay, so this is mistakes you made for like the last 2 months when you haven't been as supervised. Oh no. They rolled it out from the day I walked in the door. And I'm like, this is going to be fun. I mean, I could tell already. She's just nailing it. What's really bad about this meeting is the fact that she has all kinds of questions on, well, we're in the slow season and you shipped this amount of money. Even the lady who's over me had to tell her that's not how that works. The amount of money that we ship doesn't matter, because then we have other things that we ship. Like, say somebody sends us something that normally we'd be able to repair. Well, we got 5,000 of these. We're not able to repair this one. So we send it out. It's known as farming something out. Or it comes in and we don't have the ability to repair it at all, but they send it to us because they feel comfortable with us, so we send it out for repair. You can have anywhere between 5 to 10 of these to ship a day. Exactly. Then you have the ones that we are sending out that we aren't being paid for because they're warranty. We can have anywhere between 1 to 3 of those. And the 11,000 could be 200, 150, 1,000. So it could equal out to about 15 things. Yeah, that actually had to be pointed out to her because she had no idea what was going on. So I actually had to explain my job to this woman. And this whole entire time she's going off about, well, in your spare time. I'm like, there is no such thing. And she was like, this is the slow season and you've had 4 months. You should have this together. And I'm like, no. No, it's a concentrated effort. Everybody has to have everything prepared, and the poor customer service people can't even get my shipping stuff started until 2 o'clock. And then I have an hour and a half to have however many things I've got on my shelf, plus whatever the machine shop brings me, plus whatever's getting farmed out at the last minute, boxed and prepared. And she was like, well, you just throw it in a box and slap a label on it. About that time, I knew this lady has absolutely no idea. 3/4 of the stuff we have cannot just be tossed into a box. A label slapped on it and sent out. We are talking medical instruments. That just cannot happen. That's not at all how it works. And a lot of it has to be specially wrapped. Has to be packaged, bubble wrap, everything before we even contemplate it going out the door. And when you have literally like 57 small instruments all going out, that makes things a little bit more complicated. So she has no idea. I get to leave. I get hauled back in like, 2 hours later, and I have to lay out my day for this chick. And she's constantly talking about spare time, and I need to find spare. I'm like, nobody here has any spare time. There's no such thing. And she was like, well, it's not the... I'm like, oh, I get that it's not the busy season. I completely get that. Which means there may be an issue a little bit later when it gets busy. But you don't even know exactly what the busy season is, because hospitals are now allowed to do elective surgery. So we're getting loads of stuff in, which means loads of stuff is going back out. So I don't know what you consider busy season, but it's pretty freaking busy to the point where all of us are having a little bit of difficulty keeping up, and you want to discuss free time that nobody has. And it's just one of those things of, I'm like, any free time I've got, I'm sitting here wasting it while dealing with you, and I could be doing other things. So what she didn't know, and what my manager had done, was we have this lovely lady from purchasing who can never seem to get anything done for her job, because packages come in and they're just for purchasing, and they have to be received and distributed to departments, or they have to be put with supplies, which she can control the supplies. So that's not a problem. It's just getting all of this unpackaged and getting it to the departments. So this was added to my job. This was added to my job a couple of months ago. Not a problem. It was the slow season. Never any errors with that. That's what's so funny. Never any errors with that. But I get it to all these departments, and not a problem. And then they decided they wanted me to cycle count every day. This was added about 6 weeks ago. And I'm like, okay, once a week I can get, but this is literally every day, and I had to hit every department, and I had a limited amount of time to do this in. So the departments actually had to stop, take the time to get the parts, check them, and then I come in behind them, double check them, make sure everything is kosher, and then they sign off on it. And yeah, it's not always that simple. We have one guy in power. He is so awesome. I love him to death. But he doesn't have time for that. So I'd have to go through and search his stuff anyway to make sure everything was there. So I have these two things added to me. I have like a part-timer that doesn't come in anymore, and the manager above me can't do what the manager previously did to come and help out because she's new. And now I have a headhunter hanging right above me. So yeah. After that little, hoorah there, about a week later, they come out with this list. And they were like, well, you have about approximately 30 days, blah, blah, blah. This needs to be cleaned up. This needs to be cleaned up, yada, yada, yada. I told my husband about it. He was like, I wouldn't have signed it. And I'm like, well, whatever. We all know I'm not going to make it the 30-day mark. You get that, right? I'm just not going to make it. And I'm surrounded by these people, and if anybody wants to be, particular about it, I can say I signed under duress. I've got the HR manager there, my manager, and this crazy chick right here. There you go. So that was interesting. I took one look at it and saw tick, 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 time's up. Okay. You're not going to make it past a week and a half if you're lucky. Sure enough, literally the next day, they pull me in, talking about, oh, well, we already talked about communication and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, no, this is literally from like 2 days ago. What are you talking about? No. We did this 2 days. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I left. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's going to be mark one. Well, about 3 days after that, I got hauled in because it was just a mess the day before. It was completely barking insane the day before. And I had told people, I need to be able to get to this. I need to be able to get to this. I need to be able to get to purchasing. I don't know what's in there. I can't tell you. But my purchasing manager, or the purchasing lady, she had taken 2 days off. You know what? She more than deserves them. But I was quite well aware I need to be able to get to these. Now, she told me when she left, she's like, I don't have anything that's coming in that should be that hardcore pressing. But yeah, something in there was hardcore pressing. Hey there, boyo. But something in there was hardcore pressing, and I told my manager twice that day, I need to be able to get in there and receive this in. I'll do it at the end of the day if I have to, but this needs to be received in. It's not necessarily a choice. Now, they were already mad at me, I'm pretty sure. I had taken off on the 8th, basically playing hooky, because, you know, it was like the 6th or something that all this just landed on top of my head, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not even playing this game. So I took the 8th, and we went and got our driver's licenses done, and yeah. I came in on the 9th, and it was like a bomb hit the place. It was crazy. And that was one of the crazy days. And then here comes the next 2 crazy days. I mean, and she, you know, the purchasing manager, like I said, she more than deserves her time off. But I specifically told my manager, I have to be able to get to this. This is important. I have to be able to get to it. She wasn't listening at all. I mean, I didn't say it again and again and again. I said it when it came in. I said it halfway through the day. I'm like, at some point in time, I need to be able to get to this. This is important. And I kept being told, what else is more important than that? Right. So the next day I come in, and I get the top of my head taken off because that wasn't done. And this time I was like, no. I stood right there, and I told the manager who's directly above me, who, by the way, has been acting pissed at me for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I haven't been able to figure it out until I got pulled in the office with the whole 30-day thing. Then I was able to figure it out. Her job is on the line. Because that is her roommate, and shit's not going the way that lady likes, and she's been barking in the big boss's ear, so it's all landing on her. And it's either my job or it's her job. And we already know how that equation goes. Right. If it was me, it'd have been my job. At least I'd like to think. I would have been, I defend my people. It's my job. But on top of it, she has to live with this chick. Okay? So that makes it even less fun. And the HR person who's in on all of this is friends with both of them. So it's like this whole seesaw effect. Oh yeah, just loads of fun for everybody. I guarantee it. So, next day comes around, and they're like, this didn't get done. And I'm like, yeah. And I told you I needed to get it done. No, you didn't. I'm like, I stood right here and told you this. And you know what? That's fine. Let me go ahead and tell you what you need. You're looking at, this is the slow season. Well, this is the slow season. You're screwed. You need 2 people in shipping and receiving just to be able to keep up, even when it's not so slow, which this is no longer the slow season. Don't even try to fool yourself into that. But you want me to take care of purchasing, do cycle counts, and take care of the rest of this. I've got stuff coming in late now because customer service doesn't have enough time to get to it. You honestly need 3 to 4 people in customer service just to be able to stay caught up, and you need 2 people here. And if you don't get that, you're looking down the barrel. So when I tell you that I need to get to something, I need to be able to get to it. I told you that even at the end of the day. I need to be able to get to this. Nobody chose to listen. Sure enough, I get hauled up. An hour later, this is your final written warning. And I'm like, I don't even know where my first written warning was. And she was like, well, we sent you that paperwork and, you know, you signed it and it's 30 days. And I'm like, yeah, not even make it 30 days. This is hilarious. So I went ahead and I signed it. Once again, my husband's like, I wouldn't have signed it. And I'm like, at this point, it doesn't even really matter. I mean, honestly, I'm under duress this whole entire time. They know it. I can always claim it. You can tell just from the way the paperwork all of a sudden is laid out against me. You know, I'm doing great, I'm doing great, I'm doing great, I'm doing awful. I'm terrible with communication. I don't let anybody know. I don't listen. I don't do this. I don't do that. Yeah, just all of a sudden within a 3-week time span. Bang. Yeah, anybody can tell this is complete and total horseshit. Of course, I waffle between that. This is total horseshit and, you know, eventually, you know that saying I have, you know, when is it that you're part of the problem if you keep having a problem? I know. That's not the issue at all. This lady was aiming for my head. I saw it. I pointed it out, and then bang, it happened. Well, that one was just so interesting because I knew, okay, if I make it to Friday, it will be amazing. So I came home, told my husband everything that happened. I'm like, you know, final notice. And he was like, why don't you just go ahead and take this bitch's job? And I'm like, okay, number one, dude, it's way too late in the game. I don't play office politics. And this is what she thinks. This is one of the reasons, I'm sure, why I'm on my way out the doors. Whatever it is she thinks she's doing. I'm somehow a threat to her. Either I will fuck her job up or I will take her job. This is how it... I mean, I've had this happen to me at least twice before. Every time I was fired or run off, this is pretty much what happened. So, I already knew, and he and I were discussing it, and I'm like, if I make it to Friday, I will be amazed. He's like, no, you'll make it to about Tuesday. They like to keep it towards the middle of the week. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. Well, Friday rolled around. Smooth as glass. It actually went beautiful. And I made it at the end of the day. And I'm like, wow, okay. And then I walked out, and there was no issues. So I came home and told my husband, I'm like, I guess technically you won the bet. And he was like, well, we have to see exactly how long you last. I didn't even make it past Monday. So the lady who trained me, who's just completely bewildered by all this shit, has absolutely, I mean, this is pissing her off. She has absolutely no idea what the fuck is going on. I went around and made sure everybody who needs to, you know, that I want to have my number has it. Let everybody know exactly what's going on. Let everybody know I'm probably not going to make it to the end of the week. If I do make it to the end of the week, I'm not going to make it past into next week. Just know that now. Sometimes being right sucks. So, I literally make it to the end of Monday. Yeah. What was so funny was that right around the 8th, when I called in and we went and we got our driver's licenses and everything, so we can make sure we are 100% set. When and if I have to get a new job, and when my husband goes to get his job, we have our Washington driver's licenses. There you go. He never got his license from Utah. I mean, we actually went in and explained that to them, and they were like, okay, cool, no problem. We have to speak with Olympia, but sure. We hung out for another 40 minutes. The lady got impatient. Bang, it's done. We both have driver's licenses. I literally just received them about 4 days ago. But that's neither here nor there. But I cleared everything out. Because the second I got that 30-day thing, I knew. So anything that I had, you know, in my little area, I cleared out. I was like, I'm not leaving anything here. Screw all that noise. I'm not leaving anything here. So when the lady who trained me goes to do any work over there on the 8th, she opens up those cabinets to look for something, and my stuff is gone. And she was like, oh shit. And lost her mind. And when I understand, it was like, you know, everybody consulting everywhere, what's going on. You know, do you think Amanda left? Do you know what they're doing? I mean, they're headhunting her, blah, 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 blah. I showed up the next day. She was quite surprised. But she was actually off on the 13th, which was a Monday. She was off. And of course, they couldn't do it like at the beginning of the day. They had to make sure they got that work out of me first. They waited till the ass end of the day. Yeah. So I get everything done. And I mean, I think what's been pissing these people off is since the whole 30-day thing, I have been steadily getting more and more amused. Honestly, I've been getting more amused. I'm like, you don't even know what the hell it is. You don't know what it is I do. You have absolutely no clue. This whole thing is just crashingly hilarious because everybody has to catch you up on what it is I do. The purchasing manager has to catch you up on, yeah, this doesn't take a definitive amount of time. It depends on what you have, how many pieces of it, whether or not you have to mark it, whether or not it has to have chemical labels on it. This takes time. The reason why it was taken away from me is because it takes time that I don't have. So yeah, this lady had to go around to everybody, find out what it is I do, and still had to find ways to run me off. So I was prepared. I already knew. And that's why I kind of, on that last one, they were like, oh, well, this is your final written warning. That was technically the first written warning I got. I mean, besides the whole 30-day notice thing. Yeah, that accelerated quickly. That right there, I mean, I fought back. I'm like, no. She didn't listen to me. Communication does seem to be an issue here. And it's not on my end. I can listen all I want. If you're not telling me anything, there's nothing I can do. Sorry. Well, they come up to me on that last day, and I'm just smiling. I mean, we're all wearing masks at work now. I started wearing a mask 2 to 3 days before anybody else because I heard about the ordinance and when it was going to be instituted. And I'm like, well, I better go ahead and get used to it. So you can tell. I don't care what anybody says, even if you have a mask on, or, if somebody else has them, you can tell if they're smiling. And I was smiling this whole entire time. Because I already knew. I knew exactly what I was being dragged in for. Yeah, my heart was hammering hard. Yeah, I was sweating. I was panicking. But at the same time, this shit's funny. I mean, I made it past Friday, but I didn't make it to Tuesday. So technically, my husband lost too. It's insane. So I'm sitting in there, and they're like, this hasn't worked out, and blah, 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 and we find you lack competence, you lack the ability to listen, you lack the ability to comprehend. I'm like, whatever. Okay. Well, this is your letter. I'm like, thanks. And I had come up to a red light and didn't stop properly. This is the first time I've ever received a ticket for anything in my life. Shut up. It's the first time I've ever received a ticket for anything in my life. I rolled up to this light. People are turning this way. I didn't pay any attention to the signs, like come to a complete stop before turning. Yeah. And I just did this. Yeah. That was about 6 to 7 weeks ago, and they decided they were going to go ahead and deduct it from this last paycheck. And I'm like, well, that took a while. Really? Why wasn't it deducted from the 2 paychecks ago? That's kind of insane. I mean, I see you have to take that bite out before I go. But anyway, I'm smiling the whole entire time. I can tell she's pissed off. My manager, who, by the way, left early on Friday, which is why I thought I was being canned on Friday. I'm like, they're going to can me today. No. She left early because I guess they told her it's either her or me. Well, she was sick and had to go home. Yeah, she all of a sudden came down sick. It looked like her, I'm sick, was crying. I can't blame her. She's in a very, very bad position. It's not going to get any better. Honestly, I already know that. Look what happened to me. It's not going to get any better for her. And her living situation and her job situation is going to get precarious really fast. There are no more me's standing in the way that she can throw in front of the train. So that's how that works. So she was sick on Friday, but was perfectly able on Monday to walk me into that office where they hand me a letter and all look serious and blah, 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 and basically told me things I have never heard in my whole entire career. I have been working since I was, 16, 17 years old. And when I was deliberately not listening to you, deliberately not comprehending or following instructions, deliberately not asking questions, deliberately not doing anything, I never got told this. I got told all sorts of crazy shit. Supposedly they were going to give me a laptop to make notes. They never gave it. They were never going to. I already knew that. So, I mean, because I was supposed to make notes, and I was terrible at that, and I was just like, whatever. I'm sitting there smiling the whole entire time behind my mask, because this is just horse shit. And this is the culmination of horse shit. It's been less than a week and a half since I received that whole 30-day thing. Well, maybe a little bit over a week and a half, but it didn't even last 2 weeks, and I knew it wouldn't. So I was like, nope, thanks. Well, have you got all of your stuff? I'm like, no, my stuff is back in my area where I work. But you can walk me to it. Don't worry, it's all set and ready to go. They look madder than hell because I'm not supposed to be smiling. I'm supposed to be crying and begging or whatever bullshit. But, I mean, I got up, and as I turned the corner, I say it just loud enough so the manager over me can hear me. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have to tell my husband he won that $10 bet. Because I know that's going to make her nuts, right? That's going to be... What bet? They were actually betting on this? That would explain why she's not upset. I mean, it's like, oh my god, bitch, I already saw this coming. So I went and grabbed my stuff, and I walked out the door, and it's supposed to be humiliating. And she was like, I hope things are, go better for you with your next endeavor. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Have a good one. It's not going to be fun for you. Catch you later. Have a nice day. And, walk out to my car. And it pretty much turned out exactly as I expected. Things were crazy with me there. I'm the lady who sees things come in, the lady who sees things go out. And now they're short one person. There's only one other... there's two people there who know how to do it, but only one other person they're going to have do it. They're still convinced this is the slow season. And from what I understand, it's just a huge mess there. It's a mess. I thought maybe the reason why they didn't do it on Tuesday and they did it on Monday was because they already had somebody in place. They didn't even wait that long. I mean, they didn't. So that didn't work out too hot. So yes, on July 13th, I lost the job that I gained in February 18th. So I spent the entire week. I mean, I came home that night, I was a bit of a mess. My husband wouldn't let me look at the letter. He was like, anything you see in there is just going to be horse shit. You already know it's horse shit. Don't even bother to look at it. Don't bother to listen to any of it. It is crap. It is crap from a young woman who thinks that she knows everything, knows absolutely nothing, got a taste of power, and did what new managers always do. Especially when they're ignorant. And I was like, yeah, well. So I spent the next week job searching for both of us. I mean, just doing whatever I can, spending some time with my family. And today, technically the 22nd, I got a new job. So I will be doing insurance and working with unions. I just have to get my insurance license. So that means I'm going to be spending the next 2 to 3 days neck deep in learning material, trying to get my license, I can get my fingerprints and get started on work. So I'm not sliding that far behind when it comes to actually maintaining and keeping money for the household. My husband has an interview tomorrow over the phone. It's going to be the second one. So I'm really hoping for him there. But you know what? I'm just going to keep putting in applications for him until we can get it done. Because we've had really good luck here. I mean, yeah, technically, losing your job is bad luck. But maybe not completely. It's an hour drive. I have to pay a toll. At the end of it, I wind up making $16 an hour. That's not enough to help with anything. It takes the car out of this area because it's an hour drive. So if anything happens here, If my husband needs work, he would have to travel with me, or he'd have to go in earlier and find a way out later. Yeah. I mean, it was really going to create a lot of problems and keep things complicated. But with the new job I've got, it's work at home. So basically, it's remote work. And my husband would have free access to the car. And there's somebody home. And my work is later in the evening, so that'll disrupt things for dinner. But beyond that point, that's okay. I can preset dinners. I can make sure everything is ready for everybody to eat, and I can eat when I need to. And I'll still have 1 or 2 days off where I can cook a meal and sit down and eat with everybody. There you go. Everything's settled. Everything's set. So I lost my job. I got a new job. My poor husband lost his wedding ring. Nothing I can do about that one. I lost my wisdom teeth. I'm not sad about this. And we've got a place. We've had a place for about a month. Hubby went crazy and got everything organized and pulled together within like a week and a half. I mean, technically within the first 3 days, but we went down to Tacoma like the next Saturday. We went down to Tacoma because I was sleeping on this couch here. He was sleeping on blankets in bed. The kiddos were sleeping on blankets. We went down to Tacoma and like cleared out half the stuff that was there. And brought it back here. Now we just have to go get the other half of the stuff so we no longer have that bill there. I also have to probably change the postal box. I mean, he'd like to keep the postal box, but I'm like, it's a constant run to Tacoma we don't really need to make. Once I read my library books from Fernhill and drop those off, there's really no reason to be heading back there. But in other news, we did get our driver's licenses. I changed our insurance. And when we got our driver's license, we changed our voter registration. We did our voting. I just have to go to the local library, drop it in the election box. Done. The only thing I have to change now is where the kiddos are going to school. And I've been kind of foot dragging on that. But that's really the only thing that needs to change. Is I need to change where they go to school and get that updated. But beyond that, it has been a bit of a whirlwind of the last month. Every time I went, okay, things are settled. You know, we got settled into routine. Household is pulled together. You know, I leave out at something like 5:45 in the morning. And then I would come home between 5:15, 6 o'clock in the evening. And I'm like wiped. And I'm like, well, I'll do it on the weekend. And then that weekend we went down to Tacoma. And then all this mess started to happen. So it's just like every evening I'm going to bed between 9:30, 10 o'clock just because it's going to be a really long day. It would take me forever to fall asleep, but it's going to be a really long day tomorrow. So that's the reason why I haven't posted until now. I have eaten up almost 50 minutes of your time. Most of that spent to my work bullshit. But yeah, we have this place. He's come over to see it. Hubby like swept off the roof, and we went and we got a lawnmower, and that should be knocked off our rent because the lawnmower's going to be staying here. He went ahead and took care of the lawn. You know, he deadheaded some stuff. He cleaned the holy shit out of this place and pulled everything together. Anything they have left over, he made sure that, you know, they told him, we don't care what happens with it. But he was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna box it up and make sure it's readily accessible when you guys come to get it. It's right there. Well, the guy who owns the place, he dropped by the other day and hung out with us for a little bit. And we just chit-chatted, and he came to, you know, have a look around. He's like, this looks great. He's like, I'm so sorry. It was because it was like they were still living here. And when you have 3 kids and you have a place, stuff just gets everywhere. And I mean, yeah, it was definitely a family of five, who are not home as often, so stuff gets like dumped on the counter. Yeah, the poor guy, he was like, I am so sorry. But, they weren't really expecting to have a renter, but he offered and he didn't want to withdraw that offer, and I'm very grateful he didn't. So hubby went mad cleaning up the place. Um, and when we spoke with him the other day, my husband was like, I really don't want to delve into your things because it's just rude. We still have some stuff downstairs, but, I haven't touched it because it's rude. And the guy was like, you know what? I don't care. Whatever it is you think I'll want, pack it up, put it there if that's what you want to do, or else we'll just come over. We're just going to have movers come out, get it, and half the stuff's going to be trashed anyway. So my husband's like, don't do that. We want to make sure, because you've got collectibles, you've got things like that. We want to make sure we get those pulled together for you. So today, after I got my job, hubby asked some questions, which I answered to the best of my ability about my work from home job. It feels like one of those things where I took a super stupid risk. That's how it looks from the outside. And I told him when I was watching stuff, and listening to their seminar about this job, I was like, okay, number one, seminar. Okay. Number two, I am naturally skeptical about anything that has to do with call center, insurance, anything like that. Especially when they go, yeah, you're actually going to have to get a license to be able to do this. And my husband was like, if you have to get a license, do you have to pay them? And I'm like, no, it's all done through the state of Washington, which sure enough it was. So it's just one of those things that normally I don't go for this. I don't leap for it. I don't take the risk. I don't take the chance. But I look at it this way. No matter what happens, I now have a license, or I will have a license for insurance. I've still put in for a couple of job applications if they call me, and for some reason this doesn't pan out, I've got a place I can go. Hubby's going to have a job here soon. I can just feel it, and he'll be content, and everything will work out great. I have that feeling, because we've had such good luck here, where even things like me losing my job isn't such bad luck, because I'm not driving an hour, I'm not paying a toll, I'm not putting wear and tear on my car, and I can find something in this area. So that's the rundown. That's where we've been. The kiddos supposedly are doing well in school. When we go to actually get the truck and move the rest of our stuff in here, hubby today, like I said, he talked with the guy who rented the place, and we just made sure we had most of his stuff packed up and put in a room over here, because he's got a soundproof room. As in, he has a soundproof room, and I did not know this. And this little idea that I'd had, that I've been kicking around for the last 5 months, because my dumbass has been listening to podcasts, is I'd like to do a podcast. I've got a soundproof room. That soundproof room is going to be used for my office, for my work from home job, because perfection. But beyond that, I just might do a podcast. See what you think about that one. Nobody will listen to the damn thing. Nobody will listen to the damn thing. But yeah, I've got a hubby just went and like cleared that out. Everything got boxed up. Everything got set aside in another room that we don't use, so that they can come and fetch it. All we really need to do now is have the screens replaced, and we're going to be calling somebody in to come in, have a look at the screens, and letting them know what the estimate is. Having the screens replaced, and doing what we can maybe to put a door down here in the room that all their stuff is in, that we don't really touch, for them. We put everything down there for them to get. It's kind of like a library rec room. Just really no need for it. I mean, there's furniture, everything else. There's really no need for us to be there. But it is a really, really easy place for the kiddies to get in there and get themselves lost or get themselves injured. So we don't want them loose. So right now, our two kitties are living in our youngest's room. It is unfortunately the smallest room, but it makes him happy because he has a room. My eldest has a room. We have a room, and we just stay mostly on the top floor. I mean, the laundry room and the bathroom are what we use downstairs for. They're going to be remodeling the bathroom up here, and once they remodel the bathroom up here, pretty much the laundry room is what we will go downstairs for. We don't have any other need for any of the other rooms, except for a home office. So it has taken me almost an hour. I have caught you guys up as best as I can. I don't know when I'm going to be writing again. I'm going to try to catch up with all of you soon. That is a catch as catch can, it seems, here lately. Even with more time, I've had less time. It's stupid and insane. But I'm hoping to be able to catch up with everybody soon. I don't know when I'll be writing fiction again. I got like one of my first rude comments ever from a total troll, and I did something like I never do, and I called him out for being a troll, and I called him out for being an idiot, because if you actually stop and read the warnings on this particular fiction, you're going to know if you don't like that kind of fiction, this is not for you. And I'm sorry you don't find it hot, but there's people here who do. Maybe you want to stop insulting them, and by the way, please don't come in on somebody else's comment to troll me. I turned right around after that and marked it as spam. I said, I sent that reply. Hi, kindly go fuck off. Don't bother to read any of my other fiction. You won't like that either. Go find something you do like. Please read the warnings. This is a fanfiction archive. Bye-bye. Hit enter, turned right around, hit spam. I mean, it's been a long time since I've received a nasty comment, but I think it's the first time I've ever received an actual troll. That was somebody I didn't know that seemed to specifically design themselves to come in and troll somebody. I don't even know. I have people hitting my fiction, and I'm like, do you realize I haven't written really anything in the last 2 years? There's nothing here to see, people. But maybe one day I'll be able to get into fiction again. Maybe one day I'll be caught up with Doctor Who. Maybe one day I'll be caught up with absolutely everything. When that day happens, I'll be sure to wait about a month or two and then come and let you guys know. But until then, I can't really think of anything else. Of course, it is 4:42 in the morning here. I usually don't stay up this late, even on the weekends. But this was like super important to me, and I wanted you guys to, I wanted to touch base and let you know what was going on. I have a couple of my ladies out here I've talked with, and kept them slightly apprised, or just recently caught them up. So you know who you are. And anybody that I wasn't able to actually call or message and reach out to, don't think it wasn't because I hadn't thought of it. I definitely did think about it. But this is just a little bit faster and easier for everybody, I think. Of course, it's 25 minutes me ranting about my old workplace, but come on. That was bound to happen. Just one of those things, I saw it coming, and, I just moved in here, so of course. But it's all going to work out. I will definitely keep you guys apprised. Know that I have missed you guys like mad. I mean, Utah was pretty bad. It's the time difference there, we never quite caught up. Here, time works a little bit better for us, but it's still like 9 o'clock at night before the sun goes down, and it still throws me off. I actually have to watch the clock to know when to fix dinner, but it doesn't feel as off as Utah did, because Utah just was off. Everything was off. I never had time. I could have had a whole entire week to myself, and I still wouldn't have had time. So it was one of those, the reason why you didn't see me for long stretches was because literally I had no time. And don't ask me where it went. I couldn't figure it out. Well, I'm re-managing to learn time here. So I'm learning all over again how to time. It's just been an absolutely crazy and fantastical and roller coaster of a month. But I'm hoping to get back to where I'm comfortable, visiting my happy place, seeing my people, and catching up with all of you, because I have missed you all. And I love you guys so much. I can miss a call from my mother. I can miss a call from my sister. I can miss a call from quite a few people. But not being able to stay caught up with you guys, that's something I think about just about every day. And then realize, holy shit, how exactly am I going to do that? But I do. I miss you guys. So I'm going to try to catch up with you all soon. Hopefully this can catch you up. And maybe my next one won't be an hour long, because this is a little bit long to be listening to anybody. Okay, there are podcasts that are way shorter. There are probably movies that are way shorter. There are definitely television episodes that are way shorter than this. But know that I love you guys. For the 5 millionth time, I will be catching up. Hopefully this got you caught up. And I will be trying to answer any comments that I can over the next day or so. Big thank you. I'm not going to say your name because it's hard for me to pronounce, but you're on Dreamwith. I've known you for well over a decade. You used to go by Luckweaver. I think I didn't remember. And it's not only is it so awesome to see you around again, where I can reach you. I thank you for the Dreamwith account that you updated for me. I actually have a paid Dreamwith account. That's weird for me. I don't think I've ever done that. Not really. So now I have the ability to Dreamwith and not worry about it. Of course, that came in right about the time that my Livejournal account was like, your paid account time is up. And I'm like, well, yes, of course it is. But I thank you, dear. It is definitely going to keep me around. I would have been around anyway, but that was just a super generous gift, and you are the absolute best. Thank you for that. And I will be talking to you all soon, catching up with you, answering comments, and basically behaving more like myself here very, very soon. Until then, take good care of yourselves. I hope I didn't forget anything. I hope I didn't forget any thanks or any fanfares or, anything that needs to go out there. But if I did, I will be sure to post here, leave a message here, reach out to you and let you know, either thank you or I'm sorry I forgot. But until such time, take good care of yourselves. Take good care of each other. Know that I love you, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.